Hello everyone, welcome to a new reading. So today we are doing a Mina personality reading to celebrate that her birthday is coming up. And this reading has multiple questions, so feel free to go to the description below to jump in between questions if there's something that you're specifically curious about. But if not, I will start with the first part of this reading, which is a card that will represent Mina and how she sees herself. So how does Mina see herself? So the card that represents her is the Swan. So funnily enough, I thought of, isn't there a movie called Black Swan? That movie just kind of came to my mind because usually, the swan makes me think of someone that is intuitively getting connected to themselves, because there's this swan in the Spirit Animal Oracle, so another deck that I have, that I think that card says time for a deep dive. So to me, that makes me think of someone that is digging deeper within themselves and getting a bit more of like this intuitive sense of who they are, and maybe even just connecting to intuition and spirituality in general. But this mirroring made me think of Mina having two sides to herself. So she feels like there's a side of herself that she shows to everybody else, and then another side of herself that she keeps very private within her. And I don't think she necessarily, I'm not saying that she's two-faced or anything. I'm not saying that she's lying, but I do feel that she has definitely compartmentalized, or she has completely separated two sides of herself. And I do feel that one of them is a bit more introverted, and the other side of her is a bit more like under the spotlight. Which, I mean, now that I mention it, as an idol, it's pretty normal to. I'm saying that as if I knew them, right? But I think it is very normal for people in general to have these sides of themselves. They're all part of who they are, but there's one side, like character traits that are highlighted or used on more when they're in their career, and then some of that bits of themselves are turned off, and then other sides of themselves are turned on when they're like with their family and in private, right? So I do feel that in this case with Mina, she sees herself as like a very like as like separate entities. It's kind of like when she is on stage, she turns off this side of herself that the moment that she is relaxing at home is completely gone. And they're all just part of her. However, for whatever reason, she sees herself almost as completely different. Like she transforms almost. Which now that is also making me think of the of Swan Lake, or like the Barbie movie, the whole idea that she was human and she will turn into a swan during the day and human at night. So the transformation. Anyway, so the swan also has a water element, so I did mention that Mina could be getting a bit more into her intuition. And the water element right here, the triangle pointing down, is connected to our emotions and our intuition. So I do feel that, also with creativity, so I do feel that she sees herself as someone that is always doing something new, always trying new things, or she sees herself as someone that is constantly creating, and she may see herself as someone that is either very sensitive, and in this case I do mean connected to her heart and her emotions. Now let's go on to the second question of this reading, which is answering what is Mina's personality. What's Mina's personality? We have the Page of Coins to start off. And we have the Page of Wands reverse and the Eight of Wands upright. So when I saw the Eight of Wands and I saw this bird, I was thinking of soaring and flying. So that automatically made me think of Breaking Free from High School Musical. So that could be a bit of Mina's personality. Someone that is moving very quickly, always going places, always getting things done. It could be that Aries energy that she has that is always ready to take action. Now with the Page of Coins, so she has two pages, so she's always ready. Her personality is one that is always ready to start something new, always ready to go on an adventure, always ready to start new journeys and new chapters of her life, and go on these adventures of just seeing where it takes her. Now with the Page of Coins or the Page of Pentacles, there's this sense of she is always ready to plan, or she's always ready to go on a new project. So this is related to her career. Like she's always ready to just go for it. She's always ready to try these new projects and see where it takes her. But with a Page of Wands reverse, I do feel that she does have a personality that she could be a bit hesitant to start these new things, because the Page of Wands talks about someone that is motivated, someone that is inspired to start on a new thing, to start on a new project, to start this new chapter in their lives. However, with it in reverse, I do feel that she hesitates a lot, or she's not super welcoming to these new ideas and these new projects, regardless of how excited she may be, or regardless of how mm, ins- maybe not inspired, how much she looks forward to trying new things in her life. It's almost like this idea of like she always wants to try these trends, try these new ideas. It's like something new, shiny, let me go for it. It's like it's sparkling, it's calling out to me. That, she has a personality of like she is always curious about the unknown, curious about things that she has never experienced in her life. However, with the Page of Wands reverse, it's like sometimes she doesn't have the energy, the motivation, or the drive to try these new things, and she hesitates. However, the moment she gets beyond the starting point or goes above the, gets past the first step to start this new journey, then she goes like this. I want to say it's a hawk, but I don't know for sure. She goes like this bird, and she feels free and ready to just move forward and get things done. And that Eight of Wands is a very fast moving energy, and it does talk about movement. So again, this makes me think that the moment she overcomes that initial fear, or overcomes that first step of hesitation, she moves very, very quickly towards her goals, or through this journey. She just goes lightning speed. Now let's go on to the third question, which talks about her strengths. So, what is Mina's strength? We have Earth. What are Mina's strengths? Oh, I guess she has many strengths, but let's just focus on a couple. So we have Earth, we have the Page of Cups reverse. So a lot of pages. With all of this, and the Three of Swords reverse, I was gonna say, with all the pages, that makes me think that she's like reinventing herself. And the Empress reverse. And it also made me think that she is working on turning the page, was the words that came up. So the Earth energy tells me that one of her biggest strengths is that she doesn't give up. And I'm saying that because of all the other cards that came up later. So the Earth energy is one of stability, it's goal orientated, it's introverted, it can be quite cold and calculative because it's quite practical. And the signs that are Earth signs in astrology, we have Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So Mina's biggest strengths are connected to what those signs usually represent, which could be her career, the things, she's very good at just planning and figure out the best approach or the best way of achieving her goals, may it be connected to her work or not. She is someone that is, one of her biggest strengths is of someone that knows how to stay grounded and knows what their physical strengths are. So that makes me think of having a strong mind. It also made me think of like she is aware of her limits as a person. She is aware of her strengths when it comes to like her body, her skills, that her knowledge as well that came up. But let's talk about the tarot that we have right here. Also, I think one of her biggest strengths is how connected she is to the present moment, or to Earth. I don't really know how that translates in like normal terms, but that came up. So with the Page of Cups reverse, it tells me that she doesn't fully know how to work with her emotions. I think she still gets quite overwhelmed with her feelings. I think that she may also kind of push them to the side because she doesn't really know what to make with them. She doesn't know how to work with her heart quite yet. However, I do feel that even if she doesn't fully understand it, one of her biggest strengths is that she puts a lot of effort into her emotions. She doesn't neglect them, she pays attention to them. And that kind of brings me to the Three of Swords. Um, so even if she feels pain, even if she's struggling, even if she's going through a rough time, instead of neglecting those feelings and just pushing them to the side, she does look at that side of herself. She does pay attention to it. She does try to heal it and nourish that side of herself. And I do feel that this may come from a practical stance of like, okay, if there's something bothering me, I need to fix it. I need to look at it. And I do feel that she it may take her a while though with this earth energy. Like she's very stable, she's very grounded. So it does take a while for her to realize that she is going through it. Like um either she's very busy with her work or she's so um busy achieving her goals that if she's not ignoring her emotions as much as she's sometimes just not looking at them. So sometimes it may take her a while to realize that her heart or her emotions are trying to tell her something. So if something is not okay, I do feel that it takes her a while to realize that there's something that she has to pay attention to. So the Three of Swords reverse is actually pretty good. It talks about, because upright it talks about heartache, it talks about heartbreak, it talks about someone that needs to do some healing. However, with it being reversed, I do feel that it shows that she does pay attention to that side of herself and she's constantly healing. So even if she doesn't feel like her 100% or she doesn't feel like everything is going to be okay, she puts a lot of time and effort to bring her energy back up or to heal herself. Again, she does not ignore her pain, she does not ignore her emotions. However, she's still learning how to work with them and she's still learning to understand them. Which is the reason why the Page of Cups is reversed. Also, the Page of Cups talks about imagination and creativity, so I do feel that if anything, the thing that Mina is working with the most is to connect with her creativity. And I I feel this is kind of weird to talk about, but and not because it's bad or anything. It's just that well, I don't function this way, so I don't really understand how someone could struggle with their creativity. But it seems like Mina is so used to following rules or instructions, and she's very good at that. She's very good at planning as well and just getting things done, like getting her work done. But I do feel that she hasn't had enough freedom to explore her creativity. And this Page of Cups reverse could show that one of her strengths is that she doesn't give up. So even if she doesn't know how to work with her creativity, or even if she doesn't know how to connect to that side of herself, because she's so used to doing what she's been told in a way, or just following instructions, so she hasn't really had the freedom to just find other ways of getting to the same spot or figuring out different ways of completing a project. Um, I lost my train of thought. So all I'm getting is that she's working with her creativity. She's trying to be a bit more imaginative. She's trying to think outside the box. She's trying to not necessarily being a rebel as much as just having the freedom to just do things differently, doing things her way. And her biggest strength is that even though she has been conditioned to do things a certain way, she doesn't give up, and that's why she's able to start working on her creativity a little bit more. Now we have the Empress reverse. How should I put it? Her strength. That's what I'm saying. All of these cards are very positive. However, them being reversed tells me that she's not quite there yet. She's not quite embodying some of these cards. Like the Page of Cups upright is very good. The Empress upright is awesome. So I do feel that them being reversed doesn't necessarily mean that she is in a bad place, as much as it means that she's just not fully embodying these energies. The Empress is Venus energy, and it talks about someone that is very abundant, someone that feels confident, feels beautiful, feels empowered. It talks about someone that knows how to get what they want. They know how to enjoy the luxuries of life. And again, there's the whole idea of like they're so abundant that they're able to manifest their dreams. So with it being reversed, I do feel that there's still a lot of transformations and a lot of healing that Mina has to go through. However, her biggest strength is that she is staying positive about the future. She is working towards the future, and she is constantly healing and improving herself. So the fact that she doesn't ignore her pain, the fact that she doesn't ignore her shortcomings are her biggest strengths, because that helps her figure out the things that she needs to work on. And since she's working towards solving those issues, she is still improving, even if she's not where she wishes she could be quite yet. So again, the Empress does show that the goal for her is to feel beautiful, confident, empowered, and stable in her energy. So she's still working towards achieving that, and I do feel that this is something that is going to be like a lifetime goal. Like there, because in one of the reasons is because it feels like she's always expanding and always improving and always working towards something new. So I do feel that if anything, she just needs to slow down enough to give herself a pat in the back and embrace her accomplishments and like these little checkpoints of how she's slowly improving and growing, and also accept that she will continuously change into new stages of her life. Okay, so let's go on to the fourth question, which is what are Mina's weaknesses? Oh, the card that just flew out is Jupiter. So Jupiter is a very good card though. So let's see why this is one of her weaknesses. I can already see why, but let's see. What are Mina's weaknesses? We have the Fool reverse. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because we kind of already touched upon that in the Page of Wands. We have the Five of Swords, the Devil reverse, and the Page of Pentacles, which is the same as the Page of Coins that we saw up there. So let's talk about her weaknesses. So starting off with Jupiter, it seems like one of her weaknesses could be that she's starting a lot of projects at once. Like she's so curious about trying new things that she could lose interest quite quickly, or she could tire herself out very quickly, so she doesn't see these projects through to the end. And because of that, like she could be very good at planning, and she could exhaust herself from just planning things out. It's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and she's thinking so much of how she's going to execute these things that she doesn't actually get down to take action towards accomplishing these goals or towards doing these adventures or starting these projects. So I do feel that this Jupiter could talk about someone that has like this overabundance of ideas, or this desire to continuously expand and continuously try new things, to the point that it can be quite exhausting for her because she's spreading her energy quite thin. And the other thing is like, okay, because Jupiter is a very positive planet, and it talks about expansion, it talks about good fortune and good luck. And this is usually the planet that symbolizes things that come into our life very effortlessly, or things that we're able to do without having to work too hard to achieve them or to accomplish them. So in this case, one of her weaknesses could be that she becomes a bit more complacent sometimes. Like things that come very easily to her are things that she appreciates, but when it doesn't, then she kind of gives up. And I understand that I mentioned previously that one of her strengths is that she doesn't give up. However, it's in different areas of her life. When it comes to her as a person and growing as an individual and healing, she never gives up on that. But when it comes to other areas like projects, money, or her other goals outside of working on herself, that's when she may kind of give up. Now, the other cards that came out that are similar to what we saw in her personality, we have the Fool reverse. So the whole idea that we talked earlier about her struggling to start new things and taking that leap of faith is one of the biggest weaknesses that she has. We already know that she's always curious and always wants to try new things. So that type of personality that she naturally carries does constantly push her to kind of pushes her out of her limits, pushes her boundaries into always trying new things. And even though that curiosity is very good, it does clash constantly with one of her biggest weaknesses, which is this hesitation and this fear of trying those new things. But also, if she was someone that kind of just sticks to her comfort zone, then this wouldn't be an issue. But since she's very curious and trying new things, then her hesitation and fears of trying them out is one of, I'm pretty sure her energy is one of the reasons why she feels like it's a weakness to her. The Five of Swords also tells me that she's someone that could be quite competitive, because the Five of Swords talks about a fight, a battle. It talks about winning at all costs as well. So I do feel that when there's like an argument or something, she doesn't like to lose. She doesn't back down, and I do feel that this could be one of her weaknesses, because she may see that this personality trait, even though wanting to win at all costs, could push her to always do her best and always try everything possible to accomplish her goals. So in a way, not give up. It sometimes pushes her to do things in such a way that it could be quite exhausting, because it's kind of like running in circles or trying very hard in something that could end up being a bit meaningless somehow. So it's like if she's arguing with someone for the sake of winning, she's putting all this energy that it's unnecessary and it's not needed. And she could see that as a weakness sometimes. Also, the other thing that you just got is that um, worrying about what other people say could be, and so like arguing with them or something along those lines could be something that she sees as a weakness as well. Now, the Devil reverse, there's this whole idea of like one of the things that is a bit of a weakness for her is her need to rebel. There's there's nothing. Look, being rebellious could be an issue if you're like a rebel without a cause, which is the name of a movie as well. The whole idea of just going against the current just because there's no reason, like, so I mentioned earlier that she wants to like break free and stuff. So going against the norm in order to figure out what she wants to do and what makes her comfortable and happy, then there's technically nothing wrong with pushing those type of boundaries, right? As long as she's not hurting herself or anyone, there is nothing wrong with doing that. However, I do feel that this whole idea of like arguing for the sake of arguing or wanting to win at all costs could sometimes push her to go against the current just because someone told her this is, you shouldn't do this, or this is not right. With the devil, usually upright, it talks about someone that is under the illusion that they can do something or that they're trapped. And to me, the devil has always symbolized society. It has, and not because, again, it's not because I'm like, fuck society, they're all wrong, but it's more of like the whole idea of like other people's expectations and just following conventions can sometimes hold people back from taking risks and trying new things. So that's why I feel that one of Mina's weaknesses with this whole idea of being like a rebel without a cause could sometimes be like if someone just tells her you can't do this or you shouldn't do this, then she just automatically goes like bet, and then she goes against it. And I think there's nothing wrong with that as long as she's not pushing to the point of exhausting her mind, body, and soul. Like if she's doing this to the point that she kind of forgets why she's doing it, then I do feel that she's just exhausting her body for no reason. And as long as she doesn't reach that point, I think it's fine. Like, do what you want to do type of thing, you know? Now, with the Page of Pentacles, we do have this idea that another one of her weaknesses is her job. She puts a lot of attention to her job and to her career to the point that it can be a bit detrimental sometimes to other areas of her life. And even though there's nothing wrong with being workaholic or being hard worker or prioritizing her career, I do feel that sometimes she reaches a point that she normalizes it, like doing all these schedules, doing all this planning, all these projects to the point that she kind of forgets that she needs to take care of her body, and she needs to take care of her emotions, her heart, and her mind, right? Like the whole idea, like just taking care of herself sometimes. I do feel that because of this type of mentality, sometimes she forgets that she needs to slow down a little bit. And that's because again, this earth energy is like a slow and steady type of energy of like constantly planning, and everything that you do is a step closer to achieving a goal. So if her goal is to succeed in her career, sometimes she does this in such a laser focus that she forgets that she needs to slow down to take care of her body. And even though that would not be, I think, okay, and I think this could be just a weakness simply because she is human and she needs to rest. So the limitations of our human bodies. But the other thing with this Page of Pentacles, the whole idea of like starting new projects and just new ideas, is going back to this Jupiter energy where like she wants to try so many things at once that sometimes she doesn't focus enough to see these ideas take off, and instead they kind of just fall apart because she's so exhausted doing too many things at once. So that's her main weakness in that sense as well. Okay, now let's go on to the next question, which is what are Mina's fears, or where does she feel like she's lacking something? We have the King of Cups. We have the Three of Pentacles. I'll take them. We have the Six of Swords reverse, the High Priestess reverse, and the Nine of Pentacles. So one of the things that she fears the most, we have the King of Cups, which is Cancer energy, and then we have the High Priestess, which is the Moon, which is a planet, or, well, the luminary that represents or rules over Cancer in astrology. So I do feel that it makes sense because Cancer will square her sun. So usually this aspect, when you have a square in your natal chart, it usually talks about clashing energies. It's usually a very rigid hardship or obstacle, or it's a hard energy to work with when you have a square. It's like it locks in. And this just kind of shows that one of Mina's biggest fears is intimacy and privacy, or like, because I'm thinking of how Cancer is in my fourth house, and it talks about the domestic life, it talks about private matters, it talks about very deep relationships. So I do feel that that's one of her biggest fears, is having a very deep relationship. And it's not necessarily because she doesn't have any depth, or it's not necessarily because she has been hurt in that aspect of her life, as much as I do feel that she fears being vulnerable in front of other people, or she may find it very hard to imagine that she could have this let's say this Two of Cups type of energy. Now I'm saying that because of the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles is group work, teamwork, and working with other people. And the first thing that I saw with this King of Cups and the Three of Pentacles is that she wants to work with someone that understands her in a level that other people don't understand her, and she wants to work with someone that is very creative and someone that's very in tune with your emotions, so like that she feels comfortable enough to open up her heart and be vulnerable with them as well. So I do feel that this could be related to romance, but I also feel that she wants to, because the Three of Pentacles doesn't make me think of romance, it makes me think of career and work. So I do feel that she wants to work with people. If we go outside of romantic aspects, she wants to work with people that she feels comfortable with, and one of her biggest fears is having conflicts, confrontations, and problems with people she cares about. And I'm saying that because of the Six of Swords reversed. Upright, the Six of Swords talks about someone that is walking away from a situation that does not serve them. They walk away from issues, problems, and conflicts. And I do feel that one of Mina's biggest fears is the people that she trusts, people that she works with, that she actually feels comfortable with. She fears that those relationships will fall apart. Or in a way, she fears the day that there might be like a big argument, such a big argument that she feels like she has to walk away from these relationships or cut ties. And that's because she really values her in-depth connections. So whoever she made a very long-lasting established relationship with, she wants to preserve those relationships. So one of her biggest fears is losing the people that she cares about. And I don't necessarily mean like these people passing away or anything. I genuinely mean like the relationship just breaks apart. Like there's this big argument and then people walk their separate ways. So in a way, I do feel that some of Mina's fears could be just breakups in general. And again, this could be related to romance as much as it could just be related to any sort of relationship. Like also, like let's say she has her family, she really cares about them, like her family related by blood, and for whatever reason there's this super big disagreement or argument that kind of pushes her to put these very strong boundaries or just straight up walk away from these relationships, then that's something that will definitely break her heart and that will make her feel very, very bad about. So that's one of her biggest fears, that she will have to prioritize herself and set such big boundaries that she will have to push some of the people that she wants, that she deeply care about once in her life. Now, the High Priestess reverse tells me that one of her biggest fears is that she ignores her potential. Or, like, because the High Priestess talks about the unknown, it talks about our emotions, our intuition. And one of the biggest things is that untapped potential that we have. So, stuff in our subconscious that we do not see. So, I do feel that one of Mina's biggest fears is that she ignores this potential that she has, or that she neglects her skills and abilities just because she can't see them or because of her own fears. And the best way I can describe this, if we also connect it to the Nine of Pentacles, is like Mina in her cards has been shown this whole idea of wanting to be free, this whole idea of wanting to be independent and do what she wants to do with this rebellious energy that we saw earlier. So one of the things that she fears is that she can't accomplish her goals. She can't accomplish this freedom, this liberty, and this sense of independence simply because she's ignoring her potential. Like, again, her biggest fear is that she's her biggest obstacle, basically. So what are her biggest fears? Breaking ties with people that she has cultivated very strong, in-depth relationships with, and that she is her biggest obstacle when accomplishing her dream goals of independence and freedom. And what I mean that she's her biggest obstacle is that she gets in the way of seeing her untapped potential, basically. But now let's go on to the next question, which is, what are Mina's talents and gifts? So we have the King of Swords. That's hilarious. Okay, we have the Six of Wands reverse. A card just fell. Let me pick it up. The Queen of Cups reverse. And the Page of Swords. You guys are not going to believe me. I'm going to say it, but you guys are not going to believe me. So one of Mina's biggest gifts is her communication. Now, people will think that when we talk about communication, we talk simply about speech, and many people think that that means that someone that talks a lot. That's not necessarily the case. This King of Swords and this Page of Swords tells me that one of her biggest talents and her gifts is that it could be a couple of things, because swords could talk about communication, it talks about intellect, it talks about our thoughts, and there's this sense that Mina's biggest strength and her gift is her clarity, her mind, her ability to judge and discern situations and people. So let's take things one step at a time. So the King of Swords is Libra energy, and I think that's funny because Libra is the opposite of her sun, which is in Aries, meaning that when you have an opposite in astrology, these signs can clash sometimes, but they have similar areas of focus. So, for example, Libra is known for its sense of justice, and Aries has that too, but it comes from different places. From Aries, it comes from a very selfish place of their personal point of view, and from Libra, it comes from other people. So their sense of justice is not necessarily what they believe in fully, is mostly focusing on how other people will feel and how other people will perceive something. And that's kind of like this whole idea of like, when you have opposing signs, they can understand where they're coming from, but they will have a very different approach to those areas or those goals, if that makes sense. So this King of Swords tells me that Mina is very, like, one of her strengths is that she's able to see things from an opposite point of view or a different perspective. So even though she has a lot of these Aries qualities that will prioritize her, she is not a selfish person. She's actually very understanding of others, and she does look into other people's points of view and other people's perspectives, which is thinking about the Libra aspect of this King of Swords. But if we focus solely on the King of Swords, this kind of shows that she has very clear judgment. She is able to keep cool-headed enough to make decisions, and again, this sense of judgment, like she's very good at understanding situations and understanding people, and because of that, she's very good at making decisions. There is a sense of like when she's not overwhelmed or taking care of herself and healing herself, basically when she's stable and in a good place, she's able to make decisions very quickly because she knows what she wants and she knows how to achieve it or how to accomplish those goals, and she doesn't hesitate at all because she's able to understand who's on her side and who's not on her side. And that kind of also goes with this Page of Swords of like this whole idea of like she has a very clear channel, or there's this clear path where she's able to communicate her ideas very well. And this also tells me that even if she's not super talkative, or she may be a quiet person, that doesn't mean that she can't speak up for herself. We have seen multiple times that she's able to say what she thinks. And by that, I mean the Five of Swords and this whole rebellious energy that we kind of have seen throughout her reading. So this kind of shows that if someone really pushes her boundaries, she sets them once again. And it makes it very clear, like, you need to stop. And when I mean you in this case, it could be a situation or it could be a person. So if there's ever a situation that is really bothering her, she kind of sets her foot down and says, not anymore. Basically, that's what I'm getting at. So this Page of Swords and this King of Swords kind of tell me that one of her biggest strengths is that she's not a pushover. She's able to figure out a situation, and she knows when someone is pushing her buttons on purpose and when someone just needs to get a firm warning to step back. And that also shows that even if she doesn't talk a lot, or she may be a bit more of an introverted or a bit more quiet, if she needs to speak up and let herself be heard, she doesn't have an issue at all to just say what's necessary and voice her opinion. The other thing that kind of came up is with this Six of Wands reverse. She is someone that doesn't crave for vanities or for the spotlight necessarily. And I know that it may seem a bit weird considering that she's an idol and she's a celebrity, so she's constantly under the spotlight. But this kind of shows that she doesn't necessarily need other people to validate her, or she doesn't really yearn for other people's praise. She kind of just needs her own in that case. And that can be a double-edged sword in such a way that if someone is complimenting her for doing a good job, she could definitely take those compliments, but that could also mean that it's not necessarily enough. Like sometimes she doesn't give herself enough credit for the stuff that she does. That's what I'm getting at. So even if other people are mirroring to her and expressing to her that she's doing awesome, she may not believe their words because she herself doesn't believe she is in that stage, or she doesn't believe that she has accomplished what she wants to accomplish. And that's why the Six of Wands reverse tells me that one of her biggest talents, or like one of her biggest gifts, is that she doesn't need other people's validation to feel like she's doing well in her life. However, if other people are genuinely praising her for doing a good job, if she doesn't feel like she's doing good enough, then she does. One of the things that could get in her way is that she doesn't celebrate her accomplishments, basically. So that's why I'm saying that could be a double-edged sword with the Six of Wands. Yeah. If anything, the other strength of having the Six of Wands reversed is that even though she's constantly under the spotlight, she somehow manages to keep her essence and stay stable and grounded and not be diluted by the spotlight or being swept by fame, if that makes sense. So she's still very grounded because, again, it doesn't matter how much people praise her or how much people put her on a pedestal. She doesn't measure her value by what other people say, but what she thinks of herself. So that's why I'm saying, again, is this a double-edged sword? Like sometimes as people, we need to take the compliments other people give us and hype ourselves up with it. And other times we definitely do need to ignore what other people have to say because it's kind of coming from a very shallow place sometimes. Um, and this is where this Queen of Cups reverse kind of comes in. So one of her biggest strengths, and I think is what this Queen of Cups upright usually talks about, is that Mina is very intuitive. She works with her emotions, which is what we talked about earlier as one of her strengths. So that strength is a talent that she has and is one of her biggest gifts as well. Because as we talked earlier about her strengths, is like her ability to stay in tune with her emotions is what allows her to not give up and to constantly work on herself even when she's going through a rough time. However, this Queen of Cups reverse, I feel is on the same level as the Page of Cups reverse that we saw earlier, is that even though one of her biggest talents is the intuitive side of herself, that also helps with her judgment, being able to discern good from bad or discern people's intentions, and therefore being able to be very good at making decisions. This Queen of Cups is reversed because she hasn't fully embodied the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups also does talk about confidence and creativity, and I think that's where she's still working on those things. Because creativity does stem from a sense of independence and freedom, and she's still aiming towards that. And her confidence is something that she's still working on, because I do feel that sometimes her rebellious side could come from a place of insecurity, of someone that says, "Oh, you can't do this," and then all of a sudden she feels like she has to, in a way, prove to herself that that's not true, right? So in a way, it's like taking those comments to heart. Um, so if anyone ever says something that triggers an insecurity of hers, it could result in her overcompensating sometimes. And it's not because this person said it or because people are talking about this as much as it's because that's something that by them saying it highlights something that she already feels that has to work on. So anyway, one of her talents is that she is very intuitive, which gives her discernment, but she's still working on becoming this Queen of Cups. She is still working on getting that confidence with her emotions and not being overwhelmed by them. So in a way, it does feel like it's a gift. It is something that comes very naturally to her to be in tune with her emotions, but she still hasn't really learned how to fully work with that side of herself. And that overwhelming feeling could be one of the reasons why she may not see this as a talent as much as it could be a bit of a burden. But I do feel that over time, when she gets a bit more confident in stability and gets a better idea of how to work with this intuitive side of herself, then she will be able to see this more as a blessing and maybe even learn how to on command work with this side of herself. It's almost like if someone is naturally very intuitive, but since they don't have like the labels to understand this skill that they have, they just feel so overwhelmed that it's scary. But the moment they have these labels, it's easier to search it up, it's easier to understand it, and then it becomes easier to um I guess to work with this skill instead of being overwhelmed by it. Let's go on to the last part of her reading, which is her life purpose and life mission. So what is Mina's life purpose? What is her life mission? Oh, it was only 3 cards. Actually, I'll take them. I thought it was a bunch of cards, so I was getting annoyed. But it's okay. I can do 3. So we have the Angel of Divination, we have Left Eye with Knowledge, and we have the Angel of Dreams. So the Angel of Divination and the Angel of Dreams seem very similar to me, so that automatically makes me think, especially since it's right next to the Swan, that she's extremely intuitive. So one of her life missions is to become this Queen of Cups, basically. To learn how to work with her intuition, to learn how to work with her with her spirituality, how to work with her dreams. And in this case, I don't necessarily mean dreams of goals. I mean dreams of like when she goes to sleep. So in a way, it's like Mina's life mission is to work with the supernatural and with the occult. And I don't necessarily mean this in a bad way as much as I mean this in like I'm not even saying that Mina should be like this fortune teller or anything. What I'm getting at is that her life mission is to learn how to use the knowledge that she gets from this side of herself. It's like this Queen of Cups reversed could show that even though she's very naturally intuitive, if she were to put a little bit more time and effort into that side of herself and learn how to work with it on command, then it will be easier for her to gather knowledge through that skill. Is like through her dreams, realize that she is getting visions. Through her dreams, like when she goes to sleep, those type of dreams, is like she wakes up and she gets all of this new information that can be helpful for her in accomplishing her goals, and maybe even helping other people if it came down to it. Also, seeing like the hands going through, like, in a way almost like the heart, it's not necessarily quite there, but going through the heart of this figure, it makes me think that one of her life goals or her life mission is to, it has anything to do with her heart. So following her emotions, using her heart as a compass to lead her in this lifetime. And this could mean that one of her life goals or her life mission is to become more vulnerable and more in tune with her emotions and her intuition. I do feel there's a lot of information that she could get from her intuitive gifts. Um, but I do feel that this is like um something that she should just keep in the back of her head, in the back of her mind. And I'm saying this because it will be kind of, because she does have quite some cards that do talk about intuition, because she has the High Priestess reverse, and she does have the Queen of Cups reverse, and she has a Swan card, and all of these cards make me think of someone that is super intuitive. So the fact that the High Priestess reverse and the Queen of Cups reverse are in her reading, it makes me think that she could also be afraid of the things that she sees in the visions that she gets through her intuition. I do know that some people are super sensitive to to stuff like this, so they might be able to speak to people that have passed away, which could be a bit scary, especially if you don't really know how that works. Being able to talk to higher selves and to figures outside of the human realm can be a bit scary to other people. So I do feel that this could be some of the things that she sometimes blocks, because it could be either overwhelming or scary for her sometimes. However, it seems like her life mission is to welcome that side of herself a bit more, because it is rich with knowledge that she could use to accomplish her other goals in life. Anyway, I will leave this here. This reading, I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. This video was so tough to record because I had so many interruptions, because I was running out of space in my recording device, and it was during the talk of her weaknesses, and also the tarot cards were hesitating to come out in this section as well. So I do feel that Mina is someone that doesn't really like to talk about her weaknesses and her shortcomings. So just wanted to point that out. Anyway, I hope Mina has a great birthday since that's coming up, and I hope that you guys enjoy this reading, learn from it, or at least find it entertaining. And let's hope that everything turns out well for her in the future as well, and that she continues working on her confidence and her stability. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one, whenever that is, however that is. Thank you for all the love and support you have shown me and the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Love and healing from my part to you, and